I have discussed a few times now the efforts from Vivendi to get control of Ubisoft. Of course, they have denied that they are attempting to conduct a hostile takeover of the company, but actions speak louder than words, especially when it comes to multi-million-dollar corporations. My name is Amata, and in this Red Gaming Tech video we are going to discuss an update on this situation thanks to a report from Bloomberg, and according to their sources, Vivendi is considering making a bid for Ubisoft by the end of the year. And this is of course despite the repeated resistance and comments from Yves Guillemot and of course the other founders of the company that they do not want this, they want to remain independent. Despite this, Vivendi have managed to get themselves a 25% stake in Ubisoft, but they have been unable to get themselves a seat on the board thanks to efforts from Yves and them lobbying other investors for support. But Bloomberg sources, who did ask not to be named, did say that they do consider buying Ubisoft a priority, but they are not planning on any discussions with Yves Guillemot. I may remind you that they've already managed to take over Gameloft SE, which was also founded by the Guillemot brothers. So their claims of, no, honest, we're not doing a hostile takeover, you know, with their fingers crossed behind their back, you know, it comes across as a bit insincere, especially when, of course, they've been steadily increasing their stake in the company. But of course, Vivendi, like any company or person really, has a line in the sand when it comes to how much they're willing to spend. And apparently, if Ubisoft is a bit too steep to get hold of, you know, either because of the actual money or the time, or they can't get the positioning within the board, then they may turn to Asia for gaming partnerships instead. Now, the reason that Vivendi have their sights set on Ubisoft is pretty clear. Ubisoft stock has been soaring in recent months. For example, they added 45% since the end of September, and obviously they've just been doing rather well. They have bounced back rather nicely from some high-profile kerfuffles. Obviously, some have not been so easy to bounce back from, like the whole For Honor thing. That game has pretty much tanked completely on PC, which is a real shame. And obviously there have been several other controversies with Ubisoft over the years, but overall they produce good games overall. You know, despite the few missteps here and there, they do produce good games. But basically the Vivendi chairman wants to accelerate their expansion in gaming, and they want to do this because, well, Ubisoft are way bigger than Gameloft, obviously, and their growth will obviously be good for Vivendi. But as I've said many times, you know, while Ubisoft aren't perfect, they have definitely improved, I think, over the last couple of years, and they still make good games at the end of the day, and I would hate to see them under the control of this sort of company. Obviously, Vivendi have been pretty much setting their sights on Ubisoft ever since Activision Blizzard freed themselves from their clutches, so, you know, I just don't want to see Ubisoft become even more corporate than it already is my point. Now, of course, all of this is based upon inside sources, and the sources did stress to Bloomberg that no concrete plans have been made, no decisions have been made, and obviously their plans could still change. As I already said, they do definitely have a price tag on how high they're willing to go, and the fact that Ubisoft is doing well in terms of its stock is also going to make the purchase of any stock that Vivendi doesn't already own increasingly expensive. And obviously, due to the fact that they're also dealing with resistance from inside Ubisoft, you know, the other investors, and they can't get a seat on the board, and obviously resistance from the owners and founders themselves, you know, Vivendi definitely have a bit of a difficult fight against them, and maybe in the end it just won't be worth it for them, and they'll move on to something else. I mean, not that I want anyone to be bought when they don't want to be bought, but Ubisoft have made it pretty clear that they do not want this. It's not coherent with the vision they have for their company, and I think that, you know, Ubisoft are doing well. Just let them do their thing, and I don't really want to see them bought by anybody, to be honest. I want them to continue to improve and continue to not do silly things like the For Honor microtransactions and all this other stuff. You know, no company is perfect, and Ubisoft still have made some missteps even in this year alone, but overall I think that they're doing better. You know, their E3 conference, I think, showing that they have kind of refocused themselves and just stopped the Ubisoft nonsense, or at least toned it down a little bit, turned the volume down on the Ubisoft nonsense radio, as it were. So, you know, we'll see. Obviously, it's till the end of the year, so we've got quite a while to wait and see if these predictions are true. Fingers crossed they're not, but we shall see. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.